right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Real CFO. I am joined with Benjamin Terrell with Ben Thinking About Your Health. Benjamin focuses on mainly health insurance, but some other risk products. So welcome to the show. Appreciate you joining us, Benjamin.
Oh, man, I'm glad to be here, Chad. Thanks so much for having me on today. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
And, I love ending it, kind of focused on talking with folks, learning a little bit more and sharing with our audience kind of what some folks do. And maybe, our target audience, mostly business owners, and, talking about health insurance and risk. I know it's a big thing, especially in the self-employed market. A lot of challenges involved in that. So we'll dive into that a little bit, and maybe we can learn something here. And then really, something fascinating about you. You're into a lot of mindset stuff. We've followed each other for a few years now in different mastermind groups that we're in. One of the things that you are doing is fasting. So we're not going to jump into that right now, but it's something I want to hit pretty hard on because I think it goes a lot to the mindset, which is huge, as you know. So tell us a little bit about how you got into health insurance or risk management.
So my dad was a pastor, and there was some people in my church that I knew they were gregarious, and they always had fun, and they always seemed to drive nice cars, and life just seemed pretty fun for them. And I learned later on they were in life insurance. So at some point when I kind of wanted to stop working with my hands so much, and back when I lived in Iowa, very cold winters and hot summers, and it would just be nicer to be indoors, I thought.
Did you say Iowa?
Yep. Northwest corner of Iowa, Sioux County, Iowa.
Perfect. I'm in Council Bluffs, just down the road.
Oh, yeah. So you're very familiar with the whole area.
Yeah.
So I grew up there in Sioux County, Iowa, which was about 2.5 hours north of Council Bluffs.
Okay.
And it was a farming town. It was, even the town was rural, really. There wasn't much there. And so if you wanted to earn professional money and you're not a doctor or a lawyer or a third generation farmer or fourth generation farmer, there weren't a whole lot of things you could do. But things I liked were, I liked being with people, meeting new people, helping them any way I can. And so at one point after I had moved back there and already had success selling computers for Dell in Nashville, but I moved back to get married to my wife. We just celebrated 17 years.
Oh, congrats.
I started off in Aflac, and I thought these products are great. I like them already, so I'll start out there. That particular office, things didn't work out the way I expected. In fact, I think Aflac actually said, "You're not working for us anymore," to the original owners of that particular outfit. And then I switched over to working with the guy in my church, a guy by the name of Gary Van Beek. And the person that he trained, another guy by the name of Brian Mulder, still works there in Rock Valley, Iowa, does very well for himself. And he's all about mindset too. And I didn't realize that back then, but I fell out of the insurance game for a while, and I did everything after that. Drove a semi for a gravel company. I had a computer repair business, photography business, anything I could do to put food on the table. And then we moved as a family to the Nashville, Tennessee area back in 2019. And I was planning on going to law school. I'd already finished paralegal school, and I thought that was a good jumping off point to start law school. A few days before I was supposed to take the law SATs, the LSATs, they call them, dear friend of mine passed away. And the day of the test was his funeral. I didn't go to the funeral because it was in Kentucky and I was pretty far away. But my mind was not in LSAT mode. I couldn't think about it. I didn't want to think about it. And I was pretty bummed out that I missed it. So my wife said, "Why don't you get back into sales? You love sales." And so I just started applying to every sales job under the sun. And one of the ones that decided to accept me was this life insurance company. I thought, oh, great, another life insurance. Well, whatever. It's better than working at Walmart for me. So I'll go ahead and try it out. And it turned out to be a fantastic product and company. And I've stuck with them, even though I've had a few different side things going on. I've stuck with them since I signed up in 2019. So we moved there in 2018 to the Nashville area. In 2019 is when I became appointed and started earning my, started getting my licenses, first in Tennessee, and then I picked up about another 33 states after that.
Oh, wow. So you can cover most of the country.
Most of the country. In fact, if you look at the map after our last election, about the only states that I can't sell in are the ones that were blue. I've got a theory. I don't know if it's true, but it tends to be in the blue states. They don't want competition for the product they most support, which would be what people refer to as Obamacare, right? Marketplace, healthcare.gov. They like that product and they don't really want any solid competition to it in those particular states for whatever reason. That's okay. And so those are the states I don't sell in, up in the New England area, and then of course all along the West Coast. But most of the interior, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, and you might be right there. Who knows with that? But as a business owner and entrepreneur, for me, it's insurance is one of the toughest things, right? It ranks up there as one of the top expenses.
Yeah.
From next to payroll, right? That many businesses, especially service-based businesses, incur, and it's a necessity to provide in a lot of industries to attract good people. And how you work with a lot of business owners?
Yep. That's the primary thing is individuals and businesses under 50 full-time employees or under, they might have more than 50 employees, but they're not all full-time.
Yeah, full-time equivalents.
Yeah, the full-time equivalents. And what I help them with is employee retention, because you do need to offer benefits that a lot of folks are looking for their job to take care of them. Right. It's not just an hourly wage. They want the whole package, and it's expensive if you have to get a group policy. I think what the group policies require something like you have to pay 50% of each employee's health insurance. And when the health insurance company comes in to rate your employees, they're not looking at the young whippersnappers that you just hired. They're looking at, old Betty and John Smith who were in their 60s and not so healthy anymore. Right. And they're going to start basing everybody's insurance a lot of times on those least healthy people in your company. So it encourages folks that are unhealthy to apply, try to get a job. And that's just going to make everybody's health insurance go up, which means you can't pay as much in salaries because you're getting all this money is being pumped into the health benefits to take care of these folks that aren't taking really, good care of their health, or maybe they were born with something, it's a genetic thing and they can't help it. So I help them, the folks that are under 50 full-time equivalent employees, set up individual plans for each employee based on what they want to do for that employee. Some businesses are still cool with, hey, 50%, I'll pay it for whatever it is, I'll pay half, and that's fine. And other ones they're going to pay more for their key employees. If you're an architectural firm and the best architect has a big family and you really want to keep him because he or she does such a great job, brings in so much business, well, sure, go ahead and pay for their entire family health insurance plan. But if you just hired someone straight out of college and they barely know how to use Microsoft Word, maybe throw $50 their way in their check to go towards their health insurance. Mm-hmm. And so for them, they don't have to worry about putting together an HR department to take care of benefits. They just call me. The benefits are all included in their health insurance plan. They know ahead of time how much they're going to spend on that particular employee, and they can make a choice based on how valuable that employee is to their business, instead of the government saying, well, every employee is worth at least 50%, and every employee is going to pay health insurance based on the least healthy people in your company. No, individual policies rate people based on their individual health, their individual situation.
So that's interesting. So you structure it, because I know there's these anti-discriminatory laws and rules and
Mhm.
regulations within group health plans, right? You can't discriminate against a certain age, certain race, certain
Sure.
everything, right? Which is fair. So you
Yeah.
have a way to kind of tier a system, or set up individual plans kind of outside of the framework of a group plan
Correct.
to,
No, once you get over 50 full-time employees, you're going to have to offer a group plan.
okay.
But it doesn't have to be a good one. It doesn't have to be a cheap one. You can order a Cadillac plan, and if people want to jump onto it, they can, but it's going to be 3, 4 times as expensive. Or you can offer individual plans that give each employee something like a 50-state PPO doctor network. Then basically they can go to any state and go to any doctor in that state they want to. It's cheaper if they're in network, of course, but I work with networks so large, unless there's certain pockets of Wisconsin or Illinois or New York where you might not be able to find a doctor in network as easily. But in most states, you can throw a rock in any direction and hit a doctor in network with the plans that I sell.
That's
So you
interesting.
get huge value.
Yeah, that is. And I'm sure that a lot of small businesses aren't aware of it, because maybe before you started your business, you're working for a company, you had insurance through a group plan that Bobby, Susie, Nick, everybody was on, and kind
Yeah.
of selected the same stuff, right? And
Yep.
the cost is the cost, and whatever
Yep.
the employer decides to pick up. So you transition into your own business, you're growing it, you get employees, you're thinking, I can't afford a group plan, but there's a solution to that. And it sounds like more individual plans, and working with somebody like you to structure those. So I think that's huge from an education standpoint, because I don't think a lot of small businesses realize
No.
that they might be able to provide some form of benefit outside of the customary group plan. That's awesome.
And you may have an employee that's got great vision, and so they don't want to pay the approximately 10 to 12 bucks a month for a vision plan. Or you may have somebody that already has false teeth. They're not going to need dental. And so each individual employee then has a greater amount of control over the dollars they're getting from their boss to spend on health or dental or vision, short-term disability, accident, protection or critical illness. They're able to make their own determination of what they need. So a lot of times the boss will say, hey, you're new here. We're going to put $100 towards your health insurance policy. Call Ben. And I'll talk to him. And I said, let's make your $100 go as far as possible. Do you really need dental? Do you really need vision? Are you accident prone? You know this better than I do. If you need the accident protection, we'll include it. Do you have a family history of getting sick from, these particular illnesses? If so, it's not expensive to put a little extra protection on there. So if something happens, the insurance company is not only going to pay your doctor, they're going to pay you. That way, if you're in the hospital, you're not working, right? If you're recovering from something, you're not working. You're feeling terrible and laying in a hospital bed. It would be so nice to have either short-term accident disability or maybe a lump sum life insurance that pays out when you're diagnosed, not when you pass away. That way you've got money coming in to pay the light bill, keep food on the table. If you got a family, you might just have enough coming in to cover your health insurance, so you never lose it during the, at least the first 12 months when you're injured. So those types of things, it gives each employee control over what benefits they actually pay for.
Excellent. No, I like it. That's good information. I'm sure it'll be very valuable to a lot of those listening. And it's something that I'll share with the small business owners that we work with, saying there are solutions out there, and maybe make an introduction
Sure.
to you. Now, okay, we got the insurance stuff. That's the bread and butter, the income side of what you do, and it's great. But I'm intrigued. Mindset's a big thing that I see you talking about, posting about. At what point did that kind of click in your head, the mindset, right? Because for me, my mindset was work, and grind, and it really just kind of eats away at you inside, right? For a while, then you can, for me, I was like, man, I'm not happy where I'm at in any real area of my life. So I really kind of started focusing on mindset, listening to good podcasts, reading
Yeah.
good books about positive thinking and positive energy and that sort of thing. And not to say that I don't fall into a funk here and there every once in a while, but I recognize it and I'm able to pull myself out of it because I intentionally focus on having a strong mindset. So where did that happen for you? I mean, can you recall kind of when?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Share
I
that.
can tell you when I got very serious about it, and that was this past December. I started attending a weekly class called the Gratitude Mindset. I had taken a 2-year detour further away from health insurance and into the solar industry. I thought that my skills would carry over well into virtual sales and solar, and they would have had the company that I worked for really focused on that. But I think a lot of young companies, they don't always put their money necessarily in the best place for growth, and that's okay. But that's what told me I needed to focus more on what I could do outside of solar, outside of health insurance. What do I need to do to become the best version of myself? I'd already joined a mastermind out of Dallas, Texas called Apex.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go see a lot of folks from Apex this weekend for my birthday.
Are you headed down?
They're throwing an event, so I'm going to head down to that.
Good.
The gratitude mindset taught me something that I kind of knew, but really couldn't put into words, maybe. How to focus on gratitude, how to practice gratitude, how to fit it into my existing life, how to, as Earl Capule, the owner and founder of the company, as he puts it, he says, "I'm trying to help you replace me so you can be your own coach." Such a giving guy, such a good guy to teach gratefulness. He tells his own story about the difficulties he grew up in and the difficulties of going through the solar industry, because the solar industry, of all the sales industries out there, is a very rough grind. You're talking to a lot of people that have read that solar is a scam or it's communist China only supplying the parts or whatever the excuse is to yell at the door knocker or the guy calling you on the phone. And it wears people out fast, even good salesmen. You get the door slammed in your face too many times. You get told to F off on the phone constantly. So what do you do to prepare your mind? And so he studied for 10 years, something like 10 years to figure out gratitude, all the different ways to approach it. You know, you can approach it from a religious background. I'm a preacher's kid, and so prayer is a big part of practicing gratitude. I guess you could flip that around and saying that I was always practicing prayer anyway, and so now I'm more mindful to, when I pray, to include things I'm grateful for, not just complaining about things that I wish would change.
Yeah, right.
So that's been a huge deal for me. That and a guy named Wiley MacArthur, the Mind Ninja. If you know anything about neuro-linguistic programming, he's a master at it, and he was able to help me with mindset quite a bit, and quickly. That's the thing, is he gets to the issue quickly with a person. He did what's called a negative emotion clear for me. It could take anywhere, he said, from half an hour to 2 hours. I think we finished mine in about 35 minutes. And it cleared up. It was almost as if I had dropped a load off of my shoulders, and I could focus on things that are important. I could focus even more on gratitude. I could focus on creativity, which is really where that energy comes from. If you're in sales, you need that creativity, because people are going to throw a lot of objections at you, a lot of reasons why things can't possibly work the way you just said they were. Why are you so excited and passionate about this thing you're selling me? Well, let me tell you why. Because I'm unburdened by these old past things. I can focus more on what's important and put my energy towards things that are important. Instead of carrying this sack of bad stuff on my back, I can now let that go. Gone. and I can start using that energy towards something important, which in my life has always been sales. Sales is just a way to improve other people's lives, transfer my energy to them, improve their life with a product, and make a paycheck in the process. So that, I think it was in December of this past year, when after I felt like a thorough failure in solar, and then I realized that I still had this thriving health insurance business I could go back to, that I still enjoy more than I ever enjoyed solar, because I can do it on my own terms.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of really getting serious about it. And that transitioned into other things like, fasting and weight loss and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we're going to dive into. I think it's so important that what you said is kind of taking that bag of bad stuff. It's still there. It still exists. You're just you're not carrying it around with you every day,
No.
right? It's sitting over in the corner. You're going to look over to it and talk to it every once in a while, but you're like, you stay there. I'm going this way.
Yep.
You reflect on it, recall from it, learn from it, but you don't let it pull you down or hold you back anymore. And that gives you a sense of freedom to go and just attack. Same way for me, so many years it was work, grind, and you thought you were doing it for the right reasons, right? But really, if I were to look back, there was a period in my life I wasn't doing it for the right reason. I was doing it to put food on the table, which is a reason, but not the best reason, right? You want to do it to help and provide value to others and those around you. And when you do that, you just feel good about the work you do. And it's not really the grind, right? Your focus is on something
way further out.
Purpose. It's purpose driven. Yeah, it's purpose driven, and it's outside of you for someone else. And if you really want to feel good, approach life that way. Do something for someone else, and it fills you tenfold. So no, that's good stuff. So now let's jump into mindset. You've got your mindset right. Started in December. Kind of took that baggage off, set it in the corner. And I don't know when this started, but I've been following you a little bit. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to have you on, is to talk about this. You have lost a tremendous amount of weight in the last 4 or 5. I don't know when you started, but it hasn't been that long. And the commitment to it, and just the degree that you're relentless. I see your posts, and I'm like, this guy's something changed, man. So
something definitely changed. So
you've been fasting.
Yeah.
And you've got some methodology to it. Talk a little bit about that. Was that part of your removing that baggage and kind of moving towards something else?
That helped, because that happened first. The gratitude mindset, and then that negative emotion clear. And then April 22nd, my dad passed away, and it was a rough time. It was brutal. It happened when he was in Missouri. He was preaching at a Bible conference, and anyway, he got tangled up with somebody that didn't like him anymore, and that was that. It was done. And I saw during that time, I saw pictures of myself looking from the side like I was Jabba the Hutt with Ben's face. And I was like, that's not the way I want to look. And during that first few weeks, when we were dealing with the fallout of my dad's death, that we were eating, all kinds of food, comfort food. People would bring food all the time. That was lovely of them to do so. But I still managed to lose 20 pounds. Because stress, right? Stress upon stress upon stress. And I thought, well, I've been working real hard lately and not getting anywhere. This is at least some forward motion. If anything good comes out of this, at least I've made some progress on this one goal I've been working on for so many years. And I thought, no more excuses. No more excuses. I did keto the following month. And then I did, because I only worked good for maybe a week, probably just some water weight that I lost. And then it wasn't working. I wasn't staying in ketosis, that process that helps you burn fat really fast. And then I tried, I did carnivore, strict carnivore.
Mhm.
Maybe a spoonful of peanut butter here and there, but otherwise it was meat, meat, and meat. And then when I got done with eating meat, I'd have some meat. And that was great. I think 2 weeks, I lost another maybe 15 pounds. It felt good. I was like, great. Now I finally got something that works. And then it quit working. I wasn't eating carbohydrates. So why wasn't my body responding the way that I expected? Why wasn't ketosis happening, or why wasn't I losing weight? So I thought, well, I've heard of people fasting for a few days. I'll give that a shot, see if that forces my body to do what I want, which is to get into this ketosis. And gosh, it didn't just, I think I lost 3 pounds a day in 2 days. Maybe it was just water weight. I don't know, but I felt great. And I saw that it worked. So that wasn't that bad. I was already intermittent fasting. Even when I was doing keto and carnivore, I'd eat one
Yeah.
time a day for supper. And that's I didn't want to eat any more than that because, well, when you don't eat, even when you've got blood sugar issues, and I've never been diagnosed with anything with blood sugar or diabetes or anything like that, but I could tell that blood sugar would spike or bottom out depending on when I ate. And I thought, well, I just want to keep it steady all day. I'll just not eat, intermittent fasting all day until supper time. So I thought, well, I'll just skip supper time now. Can't be that hard, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, I got nothing to lose but fat. Let's try this.
Right, right.
And then 2 days, and then I'd eat for 2 days. I'd be careful, but then I'd go for 3 days. Then I'd eat for 2 days. And then, well, let's try 5, because that wasn't that bad. 5 days went by. I was like, whoa, that was rough. But you know what? It's working. So let's eat for 2 days and then try 7. And 7 turned into 10. 10 turned into 15. 15 turned into, I think 21 was the next. And then a 30 day. And then I said, I'm doing a 40 day. And I meant it every single day until day 32. And I was starting to get sick. It always seems to happen around the end of a fast. And my wife is a nurse. She works with kids. Kids get sick with everything, and they bring it home from school, daycare, whatever. And then she brings it home to me. So we catch every virus. We catch them all. So 32 days, I was beginning to get sick. I felt cold. I mean, I was at 218 pounds. I'd already lost 140 pounds.
Yeah.
Since, let's see, June 22nd was when I started fasting. So
Wow.
just a few months after my dad had passed. And June 22nd through, what was this? Maybe the beginning of this month, I lost 140 pounds, but I was cold. And if I looked at my arm, I could see like my skin was a little bit thinner, and I could see every muscle in my arm for the first time in who knows how many years. And it was good. I was happy about that. But at the same time, I was like, why am I feeling so weak? You know, why do I need so much sleep all of a sudden? I was getting sick with something again, and eventually got all of us. But I was the first one to get it because I was fasting. So I have been doing intermittent fasting for the past week and a half or so. And but yeah, that's basically what the progression has been so far. I would still like to do a 40 day, but my body stops really responding well to it sometime after day 21. So the current fast I'm on is 21 days, and it may be interrupted ever so slightly by, Thanksgiving, because my wife just wants me to, I do it for her. Like, I don't really need to eat, but I'll do it for her. Maybe I'll have a little bit of turkey, a little bit of ham, so it doesn't really interrupt things too much, and it may be interrupted a bit by Christmas.
Sure.
I don't want to eat a bunch of sweets. I mean, yeah, it would be fun, but I'd feel terrible. But other than that, I don't really see a need to eat a lot. Once I reach my goal weight, 180 pounds, which is almost exactly one half of where I started, 180 pounds, it will become important to switch to a diet of, a well-rounded diet, protein heavy, sure, and weightlifting, and then carry forward that way. So then I'll eat what resembles more of a normal, what a weightlifter would eat.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends that do that kind of stuff, and tons of information on the internet that we can use. to keep our bodies really healthy with diet and exercise. And I've got an online fitness coach that I've become friends with. I've stuck with him since 2021, I think. So.
No, that's amazing. Just seeing your story and just whether it's fasting or whatever, just your commitment to doing something hard to achieve a result that you desire, right?
Mhm.
And going down that road. And I'm glad because I've done carnivore, I've done keto, I've done 75 hard, I've done a lot of things. But what I find is until you make something a routine or lifestyle, first, right? Committing to the extended days, or maybe it's 75 hard, like it was for me in 2019 when I did it. Sticking to a routine and building that in your head and your mind, and doing it for so long, then it becomes natural, and then you're okay with and you're honest with yourself, saying Thanksgiving's not going to kill me. I'm going to do something outside of this process I'm going through, but I'm doing it for the right reasons, and then I'm going to jump right back on in pursuit of my goal. And you're honest with yourself, Christmas. So many times, folks, set a goal or say I'm going to, like New Year's resolutions, right? They are what they are. Very few, 1, 2, 3, I don't know the percent, actually keep their New Year's resolutions because they don't stick to it long enough to make it part of who they are. And I think that's very important. But when you do that and you commit to something, that doesn't mean you have to be in 110, but it doesn't mean you're not going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to slip, right? You're going to slip here. The point is you've conditioned your mind and your body to realize that, yeah, I slipped. I went outside what my norm is, but you've recognized it and you get right back in and pick up where you're at. It's easier to get back in. But so many people say, I failed. And then they
quit forever. I have to be perfect or it won't work. No, turn down the intensity. Turn it way down. Do something that you like doing. I already liked having just the feeling of my blood sugar not going up and down throughout the day, because when insulin hits, I get tired. I want to nap.
Man.
And you cannot, so I knew this years ago, you cannot function at your highest levels if you are physically unhealthy.
Yeah.
Your mind cannot work at high efficiency all day long and always be rocking and rolling if your body is not healthy. So I had to quit drinking in 2022, and I had to quit my addiction to alcohol. I had to quit my addiction to refined carbohydrates and sugar. That stuff's the worst. It's so bad for you.
It's so bad, and hopefully there's some changes within the food paradigm out there with the, RFK coming in and taking some things up. I think that's really important, but I'm just like you. I did carnivore. I started 75 hard with an accountability group. Some guys wanted to do it in the group, and I'm like, well, I'll jump on. Everybody quit after like 10 days.
Yeah.
Like day 15, I'm like, I'm going to have a pizza and a beer with the family at the bar, Friday night, or at the ball game, or whatever it was. I can't remember, because I live that pretty much every day.
Yeah.
I was doing it to kind of push these guys along, and they kind of got out, and it was because it was a spur of the moment deal. There was no plan of action going into it. But I tell you what, in those 14, 15 days, however long I was on it, let's go back prior to me starting it. My son's 21st birthday.
Got to take him out for
get-togethers. We had some drinks. We had some, and I don't drink a lot. We had pizza. Just for a month or so prior to doing that, I'd been kind of off. I was doing everything else because my diet was off. I got on carnivore and was just eating meat for 14 days. You talk about feeling good. I was 7 or 8 pounds lighter because I wasn't retaining a lot of water.
Yep.
But mentally, I felt great physically, but mentally I was sharp. I was focused, and it's exactly what you said. It's those refined sugars, those processed foods that we put in our body that I wish you could equate it to some ratio or some metric, right? How much your productivity is down, right? I wonder if there's studies saying, hey, here's somebody that doesn't eat processed food versus somebody that does. They're doing the same thing. What's their productivity over 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? Just think if you had a clear mind and you weren't incapacitated, right, to a certain extent on refined foods and sugars, how much more productive could we be?
Much more. So much more. We'd solve the health crisis in the U.S. at the same time just by getting people off of that stupid corn syrup stuff that they put in everything. High fructose corn syrup. That's basically the way that the human brain and body reacts to it is like how it reacts to a drug. We're getting a dopamine rush from eating that sweet stuff. I think, what is it? McDonald's had to change their ingredients in Europe because if they had 1 more gram of sugar, it would be a confection, not a burger. A confectionery. You know what a confectionery is? It's a sugar bomb. So a donut with a little piece of meat.
With the meat texture around it, right?
It's so bad. And it tastes amazing. And that's why, and it's addicting. Yeah. And all the spices are just right. And it's so addicting.
So I have a weakness, and it's typically around 9 o'clock in the evening. I get that sugar thing, and it's either ice cream or the Oreo. And I'm going to be honest with you. Last night, I jumped in the truck, went down, bought a couple buckets of ice cream, brought it home. We didn't have any at home. I had a bowl of ice cream, peanut butter. So that reminded me why I don't do it. And now let's start anew, right? But we're going to fall off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do that
reminder.
Yeah, you need
that reminder. Yeah, it's like, those Doritos sure do look good. And then you eat a bag of them before you know they're gone because they're addicting. They're worse than cigarettes, I think. It's just so
good. But it is. But that sugar is one, it doesn't fill you up. Two, it just makes you want it even more. It is a drug. So anyway, well, good stuff. And so you're planning once you hit 180.
Yeah.
Right. That's your target. You're going to adjust and now focus on the weightlifting, the nutrition, clean nutrition, and maybe not fasting 40 days here and there, maybe a few days here.
I think if once, and I've got a fitness goal I'm going to hit too. I've got it in my head what I'm going to look like. Okay. I've got a lot of loose skin to fill out, and I want to fill it out with muscles. It may include TRT, who knows, that testosterone replacement therapy, because all the damage that I've done over the years, didn't realize I was doing it, but between alcohol and bad food, man, your testosterone drops. Now, is it possible that just by lifting weights, I'll be able to bring my testosterone up to where I need it to be? Yeah. Then I won't need TRT at all. But I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know. Right. And for me, and I know we're running a little long, but
it's okay by me. I got time for you.
I just got my blood taken for the first time, I think in the beginning of 2024, to check it, because a lot of the guys that I was around, they said, man, I feel great. I'm on TRT level. And I said, well, let me get my blood checked and just see where I'm at. But I ordered a full panel. I wanted to see where I was at and everything, right? And I told him, and it was a guy we both know, his clinic. And he hooked me up with a PA there. And I told her, I said, I'm not looking to do TRT. I'm looking to know where I'm at. And if TRT is part of me maximizing that, so be it. But let's get a baseline. So we did that. And she read my numbers. And I was on the low end of average on a lot of stuff, TRT, free and total. So she went through and recommended some supplements that were lab tested, vitamin D, C, fatty acids, multivitamin, nothing outside, nothing crazy, right?
Yeah. That's okay. Stuff I take all the time, right?
I've got a baseline. Now, let's see what we can do over the next 4 or 5 months, taking the vitamins, eating right, exercising, whatever. So I was running average 4 or 5 miles a day. I was eating mostly carnivore. And then when I wasn't on carnivore strict, I was 90% protein, and really no refined carbs, no sugars, no nothing, but I would eat some veggies and get some carbs. And I might cheat here and there every once in a while, have a meal.
Sure.
But I went I forget what the number, it was like 337 in total testosterone to 619.
Dude, great job.
Yeah, and the free went up. So I think it went up 86%, and then the free went up 47% or 44. And she was kind of blown away uh,
Nice.
because she said typically when you're running a lot,
Yeah.
right, it goes down. And
Yeah.
when you're, if you're lifting, they say a lot of resistance bands and resistance workouts can help naturally increase it as well. I wasn't doing much of that. I really think with the supplementation and following that high protein carnivore diet
Yes.
really drove it up. I don't know if that's a fact, but she goes, this kind of amazes me because I know you were running a lot, and this is crazy. So we'll see what it is in a few months when I go back. But you can naturally increase it, and
Yep.
like I told my wife, I said, if I'm stuck at 600, and I know if I can be at 800 and feel really really good, then I might go that route. But
Yeah.
we're going to do that because it's a lifetime commitment, right?
It is. Yeah. Once you start that, your body's going to stop producing it correctly.
Yeah.
What I've been told. My wife is a nurse. She wants me to stay away from that if at all possible. And you know what? Happy wife, happy life. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that gives me some more hope. I'm happy about that. I prefer not to give myself shots the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But also, I want to be healthy. So
Sure.
where's that happy medium? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
you got to find it.
Yeah.
And that's why knowing your numbers and having a target to shoot for and trying to do it the right way, or I shouldn't say the right way, trying to do it naturally.
Yeah. The natural way.
As
Yeah.
we age, naturally isn't going to happen as naturally as we would like, right? It's not going to move. It's not naturally going to move in the right direction we want to see it move. It's just
To be in my 20s again, Chad, to be in my 20s again.
I
But
think
I tell you what, this has made it, I feel I feel as good as I did in my 20s.
yeah.
And the sharpness of my mind has returned. I felt like a dull knife, like it's
Yeah.
just between, years of alcohol and just poor nutrition and poor fitness choices. And it's now I try to get my steps in every day. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing next. Of course, I got to pack tonight, so we're leaving for the airport at 3 a.m. So I don't have very much time. Got to head to Dallas and get there before I have to start work at a friend's house in Salina, Texas. So I got to drive quite a bit. But one thing I wanted to go back on and talk about, we were talking about earlier with the benefits for employees and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more benefit that I forgot to mention, and that's that we can start that any day of the week. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. These plans you can start whenever you want. So if you get the itch to, keep that employee around, that key employee, and you don't want to have to start a whole thing for the whole company. Maybe you just want to cover the important folks first and then see how that goes. Any day of the week, we can start on that.
No, that's awesome. Benjamin, I appreciate it, man. It's been a great conversation, a lot of valuable information, especially regarding the benefits, especially for small business owners, because I know when I talk to small business owners all the time, they want to offer benefits, but due to the competitive nature of their business, where they're at, it's just hard to account for that cost in the budget. So this gives them an opportunity to do so, and also the mindset. So everybody listening, if you want to get a hold of Ben, talk about the insurance, talk about mindset. I know we've gone through a lot of stuff, fasting, diet, just kind of the whole change that he's made in his life around those things and implementing different mindset tricks, gratitude, reach out to him. So Ben, where can folks find you on social?
I've made it as easy as possible. I want to be the easiest Ben Terrell in the world to find, and so I've made it so that you can find me through multiple means. But I'm on Facebook a lot, Instagram. Just look for Ben, my first name, Ben, thinking about your health. That will almost certainly lead you to my Google business page or my website, benthinkingaboutyourhealth.com. That should have my phone number right on there. Text me. Text my cell phone. That's fine. And then you can find me on Facebook just by searching Benjamin Terrell. There's a lot of Ben Terrells and Benjamin Terrells out there. Only one of them looks like Santa Claus. So
That's you. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I know it was valuable. And Ben, thanks again for joining us. And
Yeah,
until next time.